Welcome, everybody, and a warm welcome to my guest, Council President Pro Tem Monica Montgomery Stepp, and Azucena Valladolid, the Executive Vice President of Rental Assistance and Workforce Development at the San Diego Housing Commission. We're here tonight to discuss housing resources that are available to help our constituents. I think we all saw the effect of both the housing crisis and the pandemic firsthand in District 4 and 8. Housing has never been particularly affordable in San Diego, but coupled with the job losses from the pandemic, many San Diegans had real trouble making ends meet. Unemployment is still high in many of the neighborhoods that I represent, which means people are still having trouble paying their rent. According to the Sandag Association of Governments, as of December of last year, Logan Heights had the highest unemployment rate in the region at 7.6%, with San Ysidro not far behind at 7.1%. These are both well above the average 4.2% unemployment across San Diego County. Now, in response to this crisis, the City of San Diego, in partnership with the Housing Commission and with funding from the federal government, created a rental assistance program to help San Diegans in need. We'd never offered a program like this before in San Diego, and the San Diego Housing Commission swung into action, aggressively promoting the program, and was very successful. We're going to hear more details about the program tonight and how people can receive help paying their rent and utilities. It's critical that we continue to provide rental assistance to people who need it and continue to do all we can to alleviate this housing crisis. Now, I'd like to turn it over to my esteemed colleague, Council President Pro Tem Monica Montgomery Stepp, to share some of her thoughts about the needs right now in her communities for rental and housing assistance.
Thank you, Councilmember Moreno, for inviting me to this important town hall and allowing me to speak on the need for more housing. Like many communities located in or near the urban core, council districts like Districts 4 and 8 have high concentration of low-income housing tax credit developments that consist of 100% affordable housing units at 60% of the area median income or lower. The disproportionate development of these projects has deterred investments related to economic development, such as quality grocery stores, retail, and office spaces. Specifically in Council District 4, close to 70% of its population rent in single-family detached homes. I want to be clear, I support low-income affordable housing. This is the type of housing that allowed my grandmother to raise her 4 children, who are now all very successful. However, I understand that we need balanced communities in order to achieve the same quality of life for every resident of San Diego. And that's why I welcome the focus, including on what you talked about, Councilmember Moreno, the focus on middle income housing. Subsidies for moderate income multifamily housing, first time home buying, down payment and mortgage assistance grants and funding would be effective for the missing middle income households seeking to establish themselves in the community. Policy that prioritizes missing middle income households within inclusionary housing developments or near concentrated poverty census tracts produces positive impacts. Essentially, housing for the missing middle is needed as it would broaden the consumer base that attracts future investment and businesses. It also lead to more inclusive commercial development and developer impact fee funded capital improvement projects such as needed public infrastructure, parks, libraries, and other public facilities to service the area. These are some of the reasons that I fight for housing in my district, and I look forward to the continued collaboration with you, Councilmember Moreno, and the San Diego Housing Commission to generate balanced and sustainable community development. Now allow me to introduce Azucena Valladolid, the Executive Vice President from the San Diego Housing Commission.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to be here today. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk a little bit about the types of services to promote housing opportunities for low-income households that the San Diego Housing Commission can offer, and answer any questions about any types of programs that we might have oversight on. The Housing Commission has 3 major lines of business that we administer. Our first is our real estate department, where the San Diego Housing Commission acts as a affordable housing developer, investor, and lender to promote the construction and the development of additional low-income affordable housing units across the city of San Diego. We are also an owner of low-income affordable housing by owning more than 4,100 affordable rental housing units throughout the city of San Diego that we dedicate specifically for low-income populations. Our second line of business is our homelessness programs. We are a leader in providing programs collaboratively throughout the city to address homelessness in the city of San Diego. Since 2014, we have been able to create more than 10,000 housing solutions for San Diegans who are experiencing homelessness or are at risk of experiencing homelessness. Some of the programs that we offer in this department can include short-term rental assistance, longer-term rental assistance for people who are at risk or are homeless. We also offer prevention and diversion programs to help people from becoming homeless. And then we also partner with a lot of different community partners to address people who are currently experiencing homelessness. We also administer the City of San Diego's homeless shelters and services through a memorandum of understanding with the City of San Diego. Last but certainly not least is our largest department, the rental assistance programs. Our largest program is the Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program, which is a rental subsidy program that assists low-income households throughout the city of San Diego to afford safe, decent, and stable housing. Our program currently assists more than 16,000 low-income households throughout the city of San Diego. Additionally, in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Housing Commission has also been administering and operating the COVID-19 Housing Stability Assistance Program, which in less than a year, we've been able to disperse more than $185 million to help pay past due rent and utilities and or upcoming rent for low-income households who have experienced a financial hardship due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Vivian, I can turn it back over to you.
Absolutely. I'm sorry, I didn't know if you were done. And thank you for the presentation. Just full disclosure for everybody. Number one, I'm very happy to have you here today. We're very grateful for all the work that you've done, particularly in the past, a year and a half now. And I know my staff has been peppering Azucena with questions every week for the last year and a half. And you've always answered promptly and professionally every time. And so I have no doubt that your hard work was critical in making this program so successful. So thank you so much. I'd like to read some questions that have been submitted. Question number one is, what happens when the money runs out for the rental assistance program? And Azucena, if you don't mind taking a shot at this answer.
Sure. So I'd like to sort of preface it with some very good news and hopefully some promising news. So the Treasury has responded to us yesterday in response to a request that we submitted to them for an ask for additional money to fund the Housing Stability Assistance Program. And they have acknowledged our request, and they have awarded us an additional $7.1 million for the Housing Stability Assistance Program. So that will be, hopefully, upon approval from our City Council and Housing Authority, will be coming back to this program to assist even more households. The state lawmakers have passed and enacted Senate Bill 115, which was signed into law by Governor Gavin Newsom on February 9th. Which is a loan product from the state that could offer additional loan proceeds until the Treasury can fund us for additional program money that could go towards expanding this program, which could be a potential resource for us to continue to provide additional households with assistance that's needed. So there is some promising sort of upcoming additional funding that we might have access to help more families because the program is oversubscribed. But when the money eventually runs out, I think what we've put into place as a backup, at least for the time being, is a citywide eviction protection and outreach program that's administered through Legal Aid San Diego. And so there are services where the attorneys can work with the tenants who might have received an eviction notice to try to help mitigate a housing stability plan to help or prevent eviction. So they could act as a liaison to try to work out a plan between the tenant and the landlord. And they could also educate people about their rights, their responsibilities and stuff like that. So we definitely have the eviction prevention and protection program that would be into place that is now accessible by people.
Thank you. And thank you for that response. On to question 2, also to Azucena. How many households in District 8 and District 4 have been helped by the rental assistance program?
That's a great question. So through our Section 8 program, and it's a little bit irrelevant, we do have about 3,500 households in District 8 that are currently being assisted on the traditional Section 8 program. For District 4, we have about 7,000 households that are assisted for District 4. For the Housing Stability Assistance Program, we've managed to disperse about $18.3 million for households that live in District 8, which equates to close to 1,800 households served. For District 4, the Housing Stability Assistance Program has been able to disperse close to $20 million to assist just over 1,900 households.
Okay, thank you for that. And also, we know what the rental assistance program is. We've Monica and I have obviously voted on it, but for the people who are watching this that don't know how the rental assistance program works, can you explain more about the basics of the program and how it works, please?
Are we asking about the Section 8 program or the Housing Stability Assistance Program?
The housing stability.
Sure. So the Housing Stability Assistance Program is funded by the United States Treasury and State. The money came about because of what Ms. Moreno opened up with, right? Like high unemployment rates, lots of financial hardships, and economy being affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. There are lots of low-income households who were affected financially because of the pandemic and may have fallen behind with either their rent or their utility payments. So the Housing Stability Assistance Program was developed to help prevent people from becoming homeless or from becoming evicted and to ensure that they remain stably housed. So the program, somebody can apply online on our website or by contacting one of our 5 community-based organizations that they can go into who offer assistance to help them submit the application, or by calling one of our hotline, which I'll share the number at the end. Once an application is submitted, the Housing Commission administers it to determine eligibility. And the program can pay past due rent dating back to April of 2020, when the COVID-19 pandemic started, up until now March of 2022. So that period we can cover past due rent, past due utilities, and potentially up to 3 months of upcoming rent if there is housing instability.
Thank you for that. And since you mentioned it, would you be willing to give us a brief, once again, basic just background and also how-to for the Section 8 vouchers?
Sure. So the Section 8 program, there is a waiting list, and you can access that waiting list by, or applying for that waiting list by going online to apply. You can send us a letter or we can add you to the waiting list. The waiting list is extremely long only because the demand for the services always far exceeds the amount of funding that we get from HUD. But what the Section 8 program does is it provides low-income households in the city of San Diego with a rental subsidy. So the Housing Commission will pay a portion of a tenant's rent up to like a certain amount, and then the tenant pays a smaller portion based on their income. And so there is no term, there's no expiration date on this rental assistance program or the voucher program. It basically allows a household to maintain long-term housing with a subsidy that helps them pay that rent. And through the Section 8 program, that household gets to choose the rental unit that they select to live in. So they get to sort of have that choice of where they live, so long as it's within the city of San Diego. And the Housing Commission pays its rent portion directly to the landlord.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for those overviews. We're going to move on to question 3. For those struggling to pay their utilities, what could be done to help pay their bills? And I'm happy to take this one. As Azucena described, the city's COVID-19 Housing Stability Assistance Program includes assistance to help pay for utilities for households with low income who experience financial hardship due to or during the COVID-19 pandemic. But there's also other programs available. For instance, even though it's not a city program, there is assistance available for your electricity and gas bill through SDG&E for qualified customers through 2 programs. First, through the California Alternative Rate for Energy or CARE program. You're going to receive a discount of 30% or more on your bill every month. Second, through the Family Electric Rate Assistance or FARA program, you may qualify to receive a 12% discount on your bill every month, even if you don't qualify for CARE, as long as your household has 3 or more people. Regarding your water and sewer bill, the city does have the Help to Others or H2O program, where we partner with 211 San Diego to help qualified households receive assistance. This program is available for any household in the city and a single family resident. You just need to call 211 to see if your household income qualifies. So we're going to move on to question number 4. What should somebody do if they've applied to the Housing Commission but have been denied? Are there resources available outside of the program? And Azucena, if you don't mind, and we're talking about the rental assistance, the Housing Stability Rental Assistance Program.
Sure. So if somebody was denied for assistance, and first I'll start by saying if they feel like the denial was incorrect, they do have the option to submit an appeal. So that would probably be the first step that somebody should take, and you can call the phone number that's on the denial letter. You do have up to 30 days to request an appeal. However, if there was a denial for assistance through the Housing Stability Assistance Program, I would still call the phone number that's listed on that denial. The customer service representatives are trained and do have a list of other community resources that might provide some type of assistance to help that household's financial hardship. Excuse me.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Moving on to question number 5. The eviction moratorium ended in the fall of 2021. What other protections are available for tenants? Monica, if you'd like to take this question, please.
Yes, absolutely. Could you repeat the question one more time, Councilmember?
Yes. So the question was, the eviction moratorium ended in the fall of 2021. What other protections are available for tenants?
Yeah, so if Azucena doesn't mind, I'm gonna kick this one over to you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, council member. So the throughout the state of California, there is currently a revised or different eviction protection that is currently in place and will be in place through March 31st. It basically states that a landlord cannot pursue or complete the eviction process through the courts for an unlawful detainer due to failure to pay the rent, as long as there is a household who has submitted an application for emergency rental relief program and it is still under review up until March 31st. So this is where the Housing Stability Assistance Program also comes into play. So if you are past due and you are at risk of becoming evicted and you received a 3-day notice to pay or quit, or you've received some type of court eviction notice, I would recommend that you apply for the Housing Stability Assistance Program, because a court cannot issue an unlawful detainer to remove a household while that application is pending a final determination. So those are the protections that are currently protecting people in place now.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Now we're going to move on to question 6. With rent on the rise, what resources are available for those who are struggling with a down payment and or closing cost assistance so they could purchase a home? I'm going to try this one out, but Azucena at the end, please jump in, okay? So the San Diego Housing Commission offers deferred loans, home ownership grants, and mortgage credit certificates to help low and moderate income families buy their first home. The first time home buyer program can assist with the purchase of a single family home, a townhome, or condominium in the city of San Diego. Now the program does have 3 components. First, there's a 3% interest deferred payment loan program. So eligible buyers may qualify for a deferred payment. Second, trust deed loan of up to 22% of the purchase price with the interest rate set at 3%. Now, this is an extremely good interest rate right now. No payments are required for 30 years unless the owner sells or no longer occupies the home as a primary residence. Now, to qualify, the buyer must obtain a fixed rate first trust deed loan, have a good credit rating, and provide a minimum down payment of 3%. Eligible households can earn no more than 80% of San Diego's area median income, or $97,000 for a family of 4. Now, second, there's a home ownership grant program that provides closing cost assistance of up to 4% of the purchase price, up to $10,000 for eligible buyers earning no more than 80% of the area median income. This assistance will be forgiven at escrow's closing. And third, there is a related closing cost forgivable loan program that gives eligible buyers earning no more than 100% of area median income closing cost assistance of up to 4% of the purchase price, up to $10,000. You can find more information about this about this particular program in the Housing Commission's website, and we'll put this up. It's www.sdhc.org. And as always, you can absolutely call my office for assistance, and that's 619-236-6688. Azucena, would you like to add anything?
I think you did an excellent job covering all the major points. Nothing to add.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we are going to go on to question number 7. What should people do if they've applied for COVID-19 housing assistance but have not heard back on their case yet? And Azucena, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so we have in the same portal where the application is submitted. You may access the status of the application. It'll tell you if it's still under submitted review, if it's under review by a caseworker, and or if it was determined eligible or ineligible. So that would be the first step that people can check to see what the status of their application is. People who have limited access to online tools can also call the customer service line at 619-535-6921, where they can speak to a live agent who will give them details about what the status of their application is. Also, one thing that I would like to point out is that because the program is currently oversubscribed, we are only providing assistance or reviewing applications for priority applicants. And those are people who are at or below 50% AMI, who are past due with their rent, who has a member in their household who has been unemployed for 90 days or longer, or who has an eviction notice. So yes, there are some households who have been waiting for assistance or for review for quite some time, and that's just because the funding regulations require us to prioritize the people who are in the most need first.
Wonderful. Thank you for that answer. So that brings us to the end of our submitted questions. I would like to offer some brief closing comments now. The housing crisis is the central challenge of our time. And while valuable, this rental assistance program is dealing with the symptoms of the housing crisis and not the root cause, right? The root cause of the high cost of housing is the lack of housing construction over the last 3 decades. And as chair of the Land Use and Housing Committee at City Council, I'm dedicated to working with my colleagues and the mayor on continuing zoning and regulatory reform to spur construction of more units that families can afford. but we obviously can't solve this crisis alone. We need more assistance from the state and federal government. For example, I started working at the city in 2010, and during the last 12 years, our wait list for Section 8 vouchers has never been less than 10 years long. Without more housing vouchers from the federal government, we will not be able to provide enough vouchers and affordable units to reduce the wait time significantly. Now, however, we understand that people need help now. We cannot afford to wait until a perfect solution comes forward. And that's why I wanted to make sure everybody knows about our rental assistance program and the other resources available right now through the Housing Commission. I would like to thank Azucena Valladolid with the Housing Commission and my colleague, Council President Pro Tem, Monica Montgomery Stepp, for your participation. I'm going to start with my colleague, Council President Pro Tem, Monica Montgomery. Would you like to offer any closing remarks?
Yes, thank you so much, Council Member Moreno. Thank you, Azucena, so much for all that you are doing in this space. We are at this point with regard to rental assistance, one of the leading cities in the nation as far as getting the funding out to our community members that need it the most. So we have to honor and recognize that us working together, the council, the San Diego Housing Commission, the community-based organizations, all of us that have been really a part of this effort to keep the members of our communities informed so that they can receive the resources that are out there for them is very, very important work and should be highlighted. Housing is stability. It's stability for each and every person, each and every resident in San Diego, and it creates stability for our entire region. So we will continue to fight for that stability that housing brings, and also balanced and sustainable community development. It is so important in the time that we are in now that we are focused on this #1 issue that we are working so hard to resolve. So thank you, Councilmember Moreno, for having me here, and it's been a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Azucena, would you like to offer any closing remarks?
I would just like to recommend that anyone who might need some type of assistance in the affordable or low-income housing arena to call the Housing Commission. We do have dedicated staff who can provide resources, a multitude of resources, and we can sort of help guide people in the right direction. I think 211 is also a tremendous resource for helping connect people to the right resources and community products that they may need. So if you need assistance, don't hesitate, reach out to the supportive services and the opportunities that are available to you.
Thank you. And that brings us to the end of our virtual town hall tonight. Thank you all for watching, and have a very good night.